All right, go live. You are live.
All right, we are live into the backlog, first ever episode.
Let's
Here I
go.
have two wonderful gentlemen, two of my best friends in my whole life. We got Mr. Bowler
What up?
and Marty. Ragnaroks, or we got gamer
I
tag
fixed
dogs,
it.
but we will in due time reveal those gamer tags. And I go by Fabian or Chief Fabian or Chieftain on TikTok, Chieftain X72 on TikTok. And we are rolling through on our first episode live on YouTube. And we're just chilling. We just got done watching One Piece Film Red.
Yes, we did.
Just in theaters and IMAX. Cool experience. We'll get into that in a moment. But the main thing that we want to do is we want to get into that backlog. We want to dig in. So, boys, what have we been working on this week? How are we digging into that backlog? Bowler, you start.
I've been reading some manga. I've been actually reading Undead Unluck. I hadn't had a chance to tell you guys about it yet. Figure now's a good time. About 30 chapters in, and I'm really enjoying it. That's really all I'm trying to catch up on and clear right now, though.
Yeah, sometimes life just kind of keeps you locked into just one thing. I know the feeling. That is a very, very enjoyable manga, as Marty and I can both attest to.
I love it.
Definitely.
But for anyone else that has not read it, it is definitely a thrill ride. Very unique, very
Yeah.
very different from another shonen, any other shonen really.
Surprised it survived compared to some that didn't.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, Shonen Jump really likes the Axe series. But how are you liking it so far at 30 chapters in?
Really good. Slow start, definitely. But from what you guys told me and what everyone says online, like it really takes a bit to get into. But I am enjoying it. I like the characters, their abilities. Really fun read so far.
It gets wild for sure, and it can be a little hard to follow sometimes, but it is wild and it is worth people's time.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of dialogue, like you guys are saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marty, what have you been working on as you revealed to us in secret earlier this week?
Yeah, the big reveal was One Piece. For anyone who reads, I used to live around the Doflamingo arc, and within, I don't know how long it actually took me, probably a month or two, I have caught all the way up to modern One Piece manga. That was the big secret thing I did quietly to get ready for the film, actually. And I had told these two before when the film was coming out that I was gonna, I don't know if they remember, but that I was gonna catch up when the film came out.
I did remember you saying that. However, I did doubt you, and
It was a lot,
I
but we did
apologize
it.
for doubting you.
It was fun though. It was good. Good read.
Yeah, it's definitely, I envy you because I've been reading that manga since Dressrosa ended. And, like, I picked it up right after because I finished the anime when Dressrosa ended. So right after Dressrosa ended, it was manga all the way through from there. So
My
I've been
next
reading.
big binge though for backlog is Witch Watch, which that's
That's
gonna be rough. That's a lot of reading. It's a
Yeah,
lot of dialogue, but it'll
very
be
heavy dialogue, but it's definitely worth it. It's getting into a pretty steep arc right now, which
Is it actually starting to take itself a little more seriously? Or
a
no?
little bit. If you guys don't know, Witch Watch is a manga that's currently serialized in Shonen Jump magazine and is currently available on the Shonen Jump app to read. $2 a month, one of the greatest investments that the three of us probably have ever made. Given that
It has
company
had
2
the
months-
singular best depiction of super speed I've ever seen.
Yes, that particular manga has great comedy. It's written by the same author of Skeet Dance and Astra Lost in Space. If you have not seen or read Astra Lost in Space, that is a great manga, manga. But Witch Watch is a very different manga from that, and it is more comedic, kind of in that same realm of the rom-com Kaguya-sama, Love is War. So it's not as wacky, but it's also more wacky. It depends on what week you're reading it. But you get into these little arcs, and it's come a long way from where it started. You get a decent amount of character development, and the art is it's really special. I really like the vibe that the art gives off. The other things that come up with that manga is there's always this underlying story, because basically it's just a bunch of people that are guarding the witch, which is why it's called Witch Watch. But it is extremely dialogue heavy. Like you're just reading it.
It really is.
You're reading.
You cannot express that enough.
A light novel, and when you're picking that one up, but nothing wrong with that. It's still a great time, great read, and it doesn't insult your intelligence. So I've been caught up with that. I've been caught up with that one for quite some time, and I've been loving it. So the stuff that I have been keeping up with or trying to dig into the backlog is I thought I was going to catch up with Kaguya-sama in time for the
finale.
The
finale. I literally caught up to the finale. The chapter dropped as I was in like the last stretch of like the last 30 chapters.
Oh,
nice.
So that was a nice treat. It was good timing, but I also kind of just wanted to keep following it week after week. I think I picked it up when I think they were saying that there was like 30 chapters left, and it took me that long to finally catch up. But yeah, so in relation to Witch Watch and Kaguya-sama, that also I read Astra Lost in Space. 2 years ago, I watched the anime to Astra, and it is a very underrated show.
I agree.
It's a 13-episode show, 14 maybe, that kind of just flew under everybody's radar. Great animation, great story, great twists and turns, great reveals, satisfying ending, very satisfying ending, which a lot of people don't get that much in anime now, because we're in the perpetual
everything's got to have a sequel.
Is something going to have a sequel? Is something going to have a second season? Anything? And people are always trying to keep that franchise alive and keep it going for sometimes way too long. Franchise fatigue. Boruto. To some people. No hate to the Boruto anime or manga. I've been reading it and watching it since both of them launched. I like it for what it is, but I don't blame people for not liking it. Just don't care for people that get too toxic about it. But yeah, so for me, it was Kaguya-sama and Witch Watch. I know you guys both got Call of Duty. I was on the fence, but you guys have somewhat conflicting and similar opinions on it. So, Bowler, how do you feel about Modern Warfare 2?
I mean, like it feels like I'm playing Call of Duty still, but they added just like these new attachments, and like they added this like mounting system, which is really kind of frustrating to deal with, and all of the maps are just really poorly designed maps, in my opinion. Like I haven't had a bad time playing the game just because playing with friends, but like I know if I had bought in this game and I was playing alone, I would probably uninstall it and just move on to something else. But overall, I would say the experience has been pretty pleasant, but only because I'm playing with my friends.
Call of Duty has a low bar to begin with, and it missed that bar, which is impressive in its own right, considering that it's just between the map design, between how bad every weapon feels and how random every like gunfight feels in the game. You'll kill someone at one range that made sense, and then all of a sudden that doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Don't know why. And I don't know. They could have just actually uploaded Modern Warfare 2. If they did that, the whole community would have been happy.
That's definitely what I wanted, because that was
what I think everyone wanted.
Modern Warfare 2 was definitely the first one that I like just gave all of myself to, and a lot of people did too, because a lot of people were fans of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, and I missed the jump on that one because I didn't have a 360 for a long time. So, and the thing that I was craving to play on a 360 for a long time was Halo 3. So if I was playing anything and I was getting any one game, it was going to be Halo 3 when I got an Xbox 360. So I was really deep in the trenches on that until Modern Warfare 2 came out, and I love that game. I think in my history with that game, I only ever got one nuke
That's so good.
on my own.
Honestly, that's still an achievement.
That's not a bad thing. There's plenty of people who haven't.
I'm not that great at them, but granted, I never tried too seriously. That one might be the biggest stretch of time that I was attempting to do as best as I could to be good at a video game other than Halo 3. But anyways, Call of Duty is always going to be Call of Duty until they mess up Call of Duty, and then they go back to the beginning. We'll have another World War II game soon enough.
I can't wait.
They're waiting for the latest war to break out. New content.
Well, on PS6 or 7, we'll finally get another solid entry. To the topic at hand, we all got out of One Piece Film Red. But before that, I need to know, because I can't seem to pull it up, and we're trying to make sure that we test that we're actually having an audience here. How did you spell out the channel name, Bowler?
Just INTO, the backlog, all one word.
Can you send me the link to the channel? Because Amanda is having a tough time finding us.
Yeah, let me see if I can quickly do that.
Yeah, but we had just gotten into the theater to watch One Piece Film Red in IMAX, and it was an experience. We got a lot of good laughs and an acid trip of a film in what you're visually looking at. It literally looked like what it felt like to be on drugs.
Should we try and be a little more spoiler free in the beginning and then get into spoilers a little later on?
Yeah, if anyone doesn't want to be spoiled, we'll give a warning. But when you're clicking on these lives, I feel like
eventually
if you jump in late and you miss that spoiler warning, I don't know what more we can do for you other than just put a red flag down at the bottom that says spoilers. But for the most part, you got to tread lightly when you're surfacing through the internet. So true. we could talk bare bones for the beginning part of it. But what did you guys think of the movie?
You want to go first or me, Matt?
You go first.
All right. So I definitely didn't hate it. I thought it was a good film. I enjoyed it. I thought it was very experimental in a lot of different ways. Which again, not a bad thing, just different. I do think it was kind of loud in terms of audio for the song portion of it, which was a surprising amount of song portion of it.
Especially because we were in IMAX and not Dolby.
That's also true.
So normally Dolby, you're like, we saw that movie Tenet a couple years back, and they shoot a lot of guns in that movie, and I swear I got a full-on back massage from that chair and the audio in that theater because I felt every bullet. But this one was just like generally like just it was clear audio, but it was really loud. I agree
with that.
That could change with a home viewing though, so I don't know how much I can hold that against it. But there was a very noticeable shift when you were in a song and in regular audio.
Yeah.
Just in terms of general volume, which isn't such a bad thing necessarily, but I mean, I don't know. The CGI was kind of noticeable when they were using it, but whatever, it wasn't that bad. I've seen worse.
Yeah,
I have seen worse.
For a lot of the like idol anime, when they're
that's
doing
true.
The dancing like
Very
choreography
reminiscent.
scenes, they always use CGI like that. So I do watch a decent amount of idol shows, so you see that a lot in there. It's just the norm that normal.
As long as it doesn't look like Berserk, they're doing okay.
Fair.
Man. Don't bring it up, man.
Too soon.
Too soon. There's hope on the horizon, but
the current season for that's like okay.
The countdown that they have related to the current season might be a new anime, but people are also theorizing that it's just going to be a Blu-ray release for the Memorial Edition. But anyways, back to One Piece. Were you done, Marty, with your overall?
I got most of my thoughts out before we start really talking about it.
All right, Bowler, lay it on us.
All right. Well, I loved it. Like I thought we've been waiting so long to see Shanks again in action. He's just one of those characters you really want to see. Like he's powerful. They've hinted at it in the story and in current events. Obviously, like it's even more apparent. But just getting to see him in action again was great. The Uta character, or however you say her name, she was okay. I
Yeah,
liked her.
Uta.
I loved her singing voice. I thought the singing was on point. Definitely a little loud, like Marty's saying, but I did enjoy all the songs. The soundtrack was on point. The action scenes were great. My only small complaint I was mentioning to you guys was that some of the scenes, like they have these notes playing on the screen, and it's happening because of the character's devil fruit, which makes sense. But from the an animation perspective, the notes are like covering the screen, so you could barely see the action. So that was kind of like I guess one of my only negatives for the film. But I thought it was very well paced. The resolution, there was a small resolution, I guess. And I thought it was well done. It didn't feel like forced. And just fitting the Uta character into the story, like from inserting her into Luffy's like childhood. I thought they did a good job with that. It didn't feel like shoehorned in or whatever. Like they just thought of it real quick on the fly and threw it in for the movie. It felt like it kind of went with the story. So yeah, I loved it overall. Obviously, we can talk about more what we like when we get into the spoilers for it.
Oh yeah, and there's plenty to enjoy.
There's a lot to chew on.
Yes.
For me, I overall enjoyed the movie. I mean, you're gonna put One Piece on the screen. I doubt I'm ever gonna really be displeased. I mean, for me, I've been watching the show faithfully every Saturday. If it's aired every Saturday since the Dressrosa arc ended, and I really have no complaints. Like even if it's filler, not a recap, anything. Call me a fanboy or whatever, but I just love One Piece.
Heck yeah.
So I didn't have high expectations for this because it's really just, it's hard to pull off what they were trying to do in the movie with the subject matter that they had, because just off of the trailers and what was advertised, for those of you that don't know, for the trailer, they were advertising that Shanks was going to be in it. We're going to get some unknown information, never before seen information about Shanks and his daughter, which was in the trailer, so not a big spoiler. Overall, I really enjoyed what this movie did, and they had a real hard task to make that happen and make it fit in the current continuity. And movies are non-canon, and it's very difficult to make them fit.
Oh yeah, we had a proper discussion about that earlier a little.
Yeah, it's hard to make them fit in a story and find a good spot where something like this could have taken place, and fitting characters that seem like they are canon. Like they seem like this part of the story should have been somewhere in the story, which is enjoyable, but also sometimes frustrating when you introduce something like that. Like one example, I guess, would be like the legendary Super Saiyan Broly movie, the original Broly movie. Where did that come from? They never reference it. Like as kids, that stuff was frustrating. Like
yeah,
why doesn't he show up in the series? Like that would be really cool to see him show up next to Cell or something. But that those are just fan theories. But overall, for the movie, I felt like the pacing would have been better for me if there weren't so many songs in it. And I know that the main purpose of the Yuta character is that she is a singer, but there were some times where the songs felt like they just went on too long. Like I pressed play on a Spotify track and I had no choice but to finish the song. It's not like when you play an anime opening and you just get the snippet. I felt like if they cut the songs down to more snippet form, we would have had a much shorter movie. And I don't really know if that's more of a pacing issue, more or less just the overall length of the movie. I felt the length. I felt I think this ran out for 2 hours, maybe over 2 hours.
Well, we can't understate how many songs there actually were in this movie, though.
Homegirl
I don't know
dropped
the
a mixtape.
number.
She dropped a mixtape, and she had more songs than Drake on this thing. But
push at least 7.
as far as the length of this movie, I think it was over 2 hours, which is kind of just not normal for most anime one-off movies. Usually they're about an hour and a half. 2 hours means you're really trying to get into the nitty-gritty of a story. Despite all those issues that I had, I think the story itself was fine.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually really good. The way that they interloped everything and the reveals for what this character was up to, this new character, and the stuff that you get to see in this movie visually.
Oh yeah,
some of the greatest out there. Like it doesn't beat it for me, but the visuals for this remind me a bit of the Broly movie, where things were just so over the top during the fighting that it sometimes it was hard to follow, but then other times you can really tell when they wanted you to see everything. You got to see everything.
Yeah, definitely.
So
a lot of cool things for people who've been following One Piece for a long time, though. Especially if you watch the credits.
Yeah, this movie definitely was for the fans.
It
was for the fans.
I think it was like an anniversary like movie announcement too. So I feel like that's probably why they went so hard on like just the fan service, like fan service as in all the characters that appeared and stuff like that, all the moments we got.
Yeah, they definitely did not skimp out on anything. They gave us a lot, and the animation was on point. There was hardly any hiccups. I personally didn't mind the CGI that was happening. It was noticeable. It was noticeable, but like we were saying, we've seen worse.
Yep, I've seen worse.
Yeah, we've seen worse.
I see worse on Saturday.
So with that, I think we've pretty much tapped out all the non-spoiler talk that we can get to. So
I can't wait to rip into some of these characters.
So spoiler talk. Bowler, I don't know if you could throw up like a little like message at the bottom that says spoiler talk.
I could try, but I have no idea how.
We're gonna start talking while you figure that out, and I'm gonna let Marty take the lead on.
Good luck, everybody else.
Spoilers for this movie. Talk about whatever you want, man. There was a lot that happened in this movie.
Gordon as a character. I hate him so much. He is such a bad plot device.
There we go.
This music sheet killed my entire nation, but it's precious music, so I have to save it.
Oh yeah,
there's always a character like that in One Piece that just like really takes their one aspect of their character, their personality trait, and just cranks it to 11, and that is the most important thing on the surface of this planet. So,
yeah.
I didn't mind it that much, but it is a glaring thing that
it's lazy writing.
It is lazy, but I don't know. Sometimes when I'm scoping out something, and depending on the setting of that particular, not the setting, but the type of media that I'm watching, I am more critical of certain things than others. If I enjoy something overall like this, then stuff like that I just roll it off my shoulder. Like it doesn't bug me that much. However, then you get into like for example, like say I'm watching like, I don't know, a sitcom like The Office. I'm not sitting there judging every single episode to like no end, like talking about like performances and all that. I'm just there to laugh and get a good story and whatnot. But
this is a review.
Yeah. But like something like, I don't know, something that takes itself super serious, like if I'm gonna go see The Dark Knight for the first time, that movie puts itself in a very serious scope and it's in like a realistic environment that I feel like, yeah, you want me to take this movie seriously, so I'm going to review it like it's serious.
Yeah.
To be fair, this movie was more on the serious tone for One Piece.
That's true. I just for me, some of those little things that I'm just so used to for One Piece because the stuff comes up so often. It just kind of, I don't know. I'll be apologetic, but it's kind of.
I thought she was going to be going in.
Yeah, that did surprise me at first, but then I was like, you know what, this makes sense.
Yeah, it made sense. I don't disagree with it.
No. But anyways, keep going. You got anything else for the spoilers? Any issues?
I wonder how many
Fan-
people are gonna forget about this part, but she was high on shrooms that whole movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a very underlying thing, and
Yeah, they mention it even towards the end a little, but
a cool attention to detail that Sanji knew because
yeah, he noticed it.
He threw out the mushroom. It goes to show he's the greatest chef of all time.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, that was cool.
Shokugeki no Sanji.
If you all need notes, I just remember. Well, not long ago. And mentioned, so spoiler is already up, but if you aren't caught up on the manga, I'm going to mention some things that happened in Wano. Because there's a really cool moment that you see very briefly that references that. Which brings up the issue of where does this movie happen? But it's a movie, so we can give it that grace.
Yeah, the anime movies are all like that, though. Like, you kind of just have to guess where it takes.
Because we see we'll call it Gear 5 at least, but a moment of Gear 5 with some people who are alive that probably shouldn't be alive apparently are around.
Like who?
I don't know.
Big
maybe
Mom.
Someone called Pero. Or that says Pero.
Pero?
It's a Big Mom pirate.
Oh, his son, the one with the candy.
Yeah, I don't know his name. I don't.
Unfortunately, there's just too many characters in One Piece to remember. But
And Big Mom?
Yeah. Again,
she just walked off. What happened to Wano? No big deal.
It's just again, I look at this way. It's just a movie. It's not canon. But because we did see the Gear 5, it's like, well, it had to take place after Wano. But
yeah, I mean, we've had these issues for a couple of movies now, and I mean, I've seen them all, even the ones that didn't come to us on Blu-ray or get an English dub. I've seen all of the One Piece movies, and they all have an extreme difficulty of being placed in the timeline at any reasonable way.
Well, this one really wants to be in the canon.
Yeah,
it felt like it. Yeah,
definitely wants to.
Even though we both saw the entrance and exit of the characters about.
Well, I'm gonna let Bowler talk about that one. How did you feel about that character showing up for us and then leaving us all in the same film?
Yeah, go for it, Matt.
You mean Uta or however you say her name? The same.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm okay with it only because I'm looking at it from the perspective that movie wasn't canon. I will say the movie and the episodes leading into the movie that we got made me really appreciate her character. So her, obviously spoilers are up, but her death scene, even though they don't show her officially dying, she kind of dies off screen. The way that she just sang that her song acoustically, like no like instruments going, just her singing, like, quietly. I teared up. I just thought it was a really powerful scene. It really hit me hard. That character as a whole, like how some of our buddies were talking about her motivation, I guess, because in the movie, she finds out why she was left on the island by Shanks. I guess we could go into more details about that, but even though she knew those like details, she still went along with her plan to basically, drag everyone into her world and just keep them there forever as their main bodies. Their bodies on the outside die as they just get stuck, which that leads back into the dark tone that the movie had, which I thought was really cool. Because most One Piece movies aren't like there's a lot of dark stuff that happens in One Piece, but like a lot of the movies are pretty like, I guess, silly, cheery. So that was a nice change of the tone.
I'll say, yeah, they all, for the most part, are cheery, but they usually give the villain a pretty dark backstory. For at least the ones that we've seen that have come to America in theaters. But I will say some of the ones that we haven't gotten that aren't a recap movie of an arc, they've got some dark moments.
Do they? Okay.
They don't. they don't really pussyfoot around it. They just get right to the point. But I hope they bring them someday because I'd love for more people to watch them because I think most of them are still pretty good. It's just, I guess at the time when those movies were being made, it didn't have like that popularity that like Dragon Ball or Naruto did. Because I think even Bleach even got American releases for their movies.
Yeah.
And part of it's the length of the show and all that. So
yeah, it's intimidating.
But
Yeah.
To piggyback off your point with the character, I thought that for the most part, other than that little instance where she just kind of just decided to keep going with her evil plan, it just felt to me like she just was like a brat that just didn't want to give up on her evil plan. And it's not even necessarily evil; it's just kind of like good intentions with bad means, bad means of execution.
She knows they're not waking up.
Yeah.
For
those of you that might be confused or have seen the movie or just don't care and just want to know the spoilers, basically what she was doing is creating this concert and putting everybody in an infinite, what was that thing in Naruto? The infinite Mangekyo.
Oh, Tsukiyomi, I think.
Tsukiyomi. So she put them in an infinite dream state so that they
the
can
dream
live their
world
lives with her in a never-ending concert.
Yeah.
Which... basically, for a result is so that everyone can live in peace finally. So there's no more pirates, there's no more government, there's no more bickering. There's just fun, infinite food, infinite joy. You even get some parts of this. You get some parts of this movie where one dude just literally was like, "But I want to go back to work."
That's when the yandere snap happened.
That was really funny, yeah.
Yeah, so she was like, "What? What do you mean you want to go to work? Don't you love my singing?" It was like, "Oh, it's all right." You know, I just got a family to provide for us all. But I will say at one point, and I get why they were doing this, but she kept repeating her goal and the reason that she wanted to do all this stuff over and over and over. It just got to be like kind of like a Saturday morning cartoon villain, like Power Rangers, a little bit. But it's, in her regard, I get why they were doing it. It's just to show how desperate she was to make it happen.
Yeah.
And how frustrated she was becoming that it didn't seem to be going so well that it wasn't being met without resistance.
I'm curious
it just bugged me. It bugged me a little bit.
I'm curious about the idea of, because in the film it becomes very apparent at one point that she exists both in the dream world and while she's awake at the same time.
I didn't understand.
So I'm wondering how that works exactly.
Maybe I think it's because she's the devil fruit user.
Yes,
she's able to, send like her consciousness or soul or whatever because they kept saying soul. So
they said soul. Well, we got some Big Mom vibes here.
Yeah, she's not Freddy Krueger. She can't just only be in one or the other. She can be in both.
Yeah.
Ultimate Freddy Krueger. And this one sings you lullabies.
Yes, and her voice, like I can't stress enough how good that singer is. And we did end up seeing it in Japanese. So I actually
good note. We did see this.
That should probably be mentioned, yeah.
I do want to see it in the English dub just because Ama Lee, she got casted as Uta.
Oh, that's cool.
And she
I
has.
didn't know that.
I thought they were going to get Celine Dion.
No,
those songs sound like some Celine Dion stuff, man. Like it sounded like epic vocals. But
she was singing hard.
Question, and I mentioned this to Marty on the way home. The voice actress that just does the normal voice is not the same person that's singing, correct?
I believe so because they did sound
different. Pretty different. Different.
I think so. They do that a lot though for
I mean even American movies they do that.
Yeah,
like Jack Skellington, the Nightmare Before Christmas. The voice actor is a completely different person than the singer. The singer
it's a lot to ask. Yeah.
The singer is Danny Elfman, as my Nightmare Before Christmas expert wife has pointed out, but the voice actor was somebody else.
Yeah, and that's fine. I like that. It would probably have been nicer to just just have that singer do the voicing, but I mean, if she can't, voice
it's a lot to ask of someone.
Yeah, she's already singing, right? she already made a whole album for the movie, so
Oh man,
like
I'm
yeah.
surprised if that it honestly isn't like a 13 track I was surprised at the amount of music that was in this, because like even something like we watched Belle, I think that Belle, the anime movie like last year, and that movie was prominently about a singer, and I feel like that movie had less singing in it than this movie.
Yeah.
And this is a shonen battle fighting anime. Like,
well, going off of Belle, that one obviously we won't get into spoilers for that, but there was more to it going on there that they wanted to focus on. But I get your example, and I agree. I definitely think they could have done, a few less songs and focused more on like even just the fighting alone, because like going off of the fights, like
except for the last big fight, there wasn't a bunch.
There wasn't that many fights, right? So like, and that's fine, because just from a visual standpoint, the movie looks so good. But the thing that I loved about this film is just all the characters we got to see, and the characters that they brought back to have like an important role. Like the fact that they brought back that Bruno dude, or Bruley, whatever his name is, the guy that Luffy first went
Bartholomew
on. No, that's
Bellamy.
No, not Bellamy. The dude with the horns, the bull that.
Oh yeah,
the door fruit.
From
He used to be in CP9, and he was the first opponent.
I was
that
struggling
Luffy...
to remember who the hell he was. I remember him.
Yeah.
I knew he existed before, but
I couldn't believe they brought him back like that. I was so excited. And just what they did with him was really fun. And they even had the other chick from CP9, the one that had the bubble.
Yeah, the bubble girl.
Yeah, I thought that was just cool to see.
I do not know that lady's name. It's been too long.
I miss the giraffe man.
Kaku. My favorite CP9.
Spin off with him ASAP. Like,
him and
I want to know more about that character, man. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I know the giraffe thing is funny, but I think he is an interesting character.
No, I agree. I hope we get a little bit more on him, but we'll see what they do with them.
I mean, they've had CP9. Well, they're not CP9 anymore. I forget what they're called, but they've had them floating around the story for a while.
Yeah, I definitely want to know what else.
Something's brewing with them.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to betray the government.
You think they're going to betray the government and become like the end game
what's Leopard Boy's name? I can't remember.
Rob Lucci.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if he did.
Well,
just because of his personality.
Yeah. Plus, he already got beat by Luffy once, so it's like if we got another fight with him, I wouldn't be upset about it. I think it'd be cool.
He's gonna definitely have a power creep. Like,
I think
they upgraded him behind the scenes somehow.
He's probably a pacifist or something.
Maybe, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Actually,
part pacifist, part
like for what's going on
the animal
modern manga, which we probably shouldn't get too into that, just because
no reason to
do that to people who are just anime only. But what's going on in the modern manga? Pacifistas are becoming very interesting very quickly.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll definitely get into that another time. Or I mean, even if we could throw up the spoiler talk for current stuff after this. Once we're done talking, I can't imagine we're going to go on much longer about the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, all that's left to really talk about is probably mostly the big fight and maybe the villain.
I love the big fight. The big fight.
Yeah, no complaints.
You guys know I'm a Power Rangers fan. I freaking love Power. I felt like I was watching Power Rangers. Like those team ups, because there's team up episodes of Power Rangers. When you get the unlikely allies, or like two teams from like the previous season and the current season together, those were some of the most hype episodes when I was a kid, and I kind of got that vibe when I saw the different crews, the different past enemies, current enemies, all working together to save pretty much existence. Like existence was at risk here. The stakes were high.
Although apparently Shanks did him by himself last time with his group.
Yeah.
But they also said they only won because Uda was a child and she went to sleep. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. She didn't have fallen asleep. She didn't have the mushrooms. I agree though. Backpacking off what you're saying, like the final fight was just so epic because of what they did with the team ups, and just the whole, when Zoro was attacking the like final enemy boss, it flashed from Zoro to Shanks's first mate, so you got to see their first mates, and then we got to see Usopp and his dad, and that was fucking incredible.
Usopp and his dad was like,
that was sick.
Probably needs to be talked about for till the end of time, because we've been waiting for that.
We've been waiting so long for that. Like, and that's the worst part, is it's not even, if this movie isn't canon.
It's a movie.
Yeah. So, and that just gives them room though to make their like, moment when they finally meet each other in the official canon even more special though.
The big bad in this was called Top Musica, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
That's about as good as pronunciation as we're gonna have. But
it's a demon lord, which is weird too.
Real quick, I'd put that Usopp and his dad moment with like them coordinating everything together on par with the moment in that first My Hero Academia movie where Deku and All Might are together fighting. Same energy.
It was literally the same feeling like that I got.
Awesome.
I was just like, this is something I've always wanted to see on screen for this show. I can't believe we're witnessing this right now. It's incredible.
Stuff you can't necessarily always get in the manga canon, because for all we know, they may not get that moment in the manga. They might just be straight up enemies.
Yeah, that could be the case.
They might. I don't see that being the case, but it could happen. We never know where it's going to go.
Enemies with respect, and maybe.
That's true.
Yeah.
He did leave him at a young age.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of a bone to pick.
Yeah. But anyways, I think we can all kind of just give like a grade or a score, or whatever we feel comfortable with, whatever your guys' ranking system is. I try to go by letters just because I've always liked Chris Stuckman's reviews, so the letters have stuck with me just because I'm a fan of his.
You doing minus plus or just letters?
I give the plus, but I would go as far with this one as to give it a B plus.
B plus, okay. What about you, Marty?
I'd give it a B. I don't think it was bad at all, but I think it could have been better.
Could have been better, yeah. For me personally, I'd go with an A. So many highlight moments. You already know I'm a fanboy when it comes to stuff like this, but like,
hey, and that's why we love you.
It's true.
Thank you. But
real quick,
you're probably
for people that may go back
something
and
like
watch
this a lot.
No, when people may go back and watch this at some point, this man is the beacon of positivity in any form of media, and we love him.
What's the lowest rating you've given something on my anime list?
Like a 4 out of 10.
There it is. And what anime might that have been?
The Promised Neverland season 2.
I thought you gave that a 2 out of 10. I don't remember.
Did I? I don't know.
I didn't magnify that with a review.
I want to forget about that. No, but anyway, yeah.
We have to remember so we can move forward and fight.
Someday we'll get Goldie Pop.
But yeah, you gave the movie an A, and you were gonna add something else.
No, like I said, my reasoning for an A is just because of how much I enjoyed the music, and while there wasn't that many fights, the fights we got looked great. And then going back to that last scene, those last scenes with the Zoro flashing to the first mate, Usopp and his dad, Luffy and Shanks, and the icing on the cake, again, that scene that I mentioned earlier where Uta is just basically dying in Shanks' arms and she's singing her song. It got me hard. I really thought that was a beautiful scene. Really,
One Piece
really
will do that to you. One Piece will do that to you.
All the
As
time.
we know from ships.
Oh, ships.
Next time we'll catch up on Detective Conan.
Mary.
You by next week, we need to catch up on 1,000+ chapters.
And then Hajime no Ippo after.
No, never.
All right, so I guess we can kind of go from here and close out on what stuff we are trying to knock off the backlog, because I think we've given people enough about the One Piece movie. Definitely go see it in theaters if you can.
Yes, if
definitely
you can.
worth the theater experience, especially in IMAX. The
Honestly,
image was crystal clear, and hopefully your audio isn't as loud as ours, but hopefully it also is, so you know what we're talking about. But we'll go into what are we trying to knock off the backlog next.
All right. I guess I'll just go first. My goal is, just keep reading Undead Unluck, and then I want to tackle Mashal as well, just so I can finally be a part of the conversation. I'm hyped for the anime for both. And part of me wanted to wait, but since we started this podcast, I really wanted to be caught up so that I could be a part of the discussion.
Definitely two of the biggest ones that they have released and have not gotten the axe.
Yeah.
We could do a whole episode about what the state of Shonen Jump.
Oh my god, I could. I've watched so many things die.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Mashal and Undead Unluck. Anything else?
Any anime?
I mean, no new anime right now. I'm just focusing on this amazing god tier fall season.
Anything in the Infinite video game vault?
We don't talk about that. But I'm hyped as heck for God of War. That's coming out on Tuesday. So
yeah, that's true. That'll be fun.
That might put a damper on me catching up with Undead Unluck and Mashal so quickly, but
that's what Elden Ring did to me.
Every other goal destroyed you.
Elden Ring. Just thank God this isn't a JRPG for God of War, because at least there's gonna be an end in sight, and I'm gonna play that thing on easy mode. We're gonna kill everything, easy peasy, and we're gonna get that story, and we're not gonna get spoiled, and it'll be great.
I'll tell you, have to fight the Valkyries again.
They're dead. They can't come back. Don't you lie to me.
There'll be new enemies. They'll be like the
something even harder. Yeah.
Yeah. So just God of War, Mashal, and Undead Unluck.
Yeah, that's my projects I'll be working on for the next few weeks.
All right. How about you, Marty?
All right. I guess this is my chance to plug. I read Infinite Webtoons. If it exists, and it's popular, I've probably heard or read it. But we're gonna skip over that because that's my own personal nightmare. But for manga, we want to try and catch up on Witch Watch next. And Trojan X, actually, I'm pretty behind on, but that shouldn't take long, I think. It's not that bad.
No, it's only like 30-something chapters right now.
Yeah, that's manga. Witch Watch is worse.
That manga confuses the hell out of me, but I love it. And Tokyo Ghoul confused me too, and I loved it. Tokyo Ghoul I will say. Regular Tokyo Ghoul, I felt like was easier to follow than because Reed just like threw you into a whole new setting right off the bat. A lot of the characters looked alike. It was difficult to keep up with. But I got it. We figured it out. They made an anime, made it a little bit easier to follow, even though they moved some stuff around. But yeah, good goals. So mine is a I don't want to say a tall task because some of these are shorter. So you guys both know that I'm trying to read almost everything that was ongoing when I started this goal almost a year ago.
Yeah, I know you've read
the Shonen Jump app, trying to read almost every weekly, monthly series. Basically anything that comes out weekly or monthly on the app, I'm trying to catch up to it because I feel like there's just so many great titles and so many great authors that they always find. And even if like an author makes a something that gets canceled, I want to know their style. I want to see their growth.
So I got a few I could recommend you.
If I get to someone that if I read one that's gotten canceled and I get to see their style and get to see that growth, I really like seeing how things have developed for certain authors. But
yeah,
that's the goal, and I have 9 more left from when I started this that were ongoing series or completed series that I wanted to read. So some of these have completed that were ongoing at the time. So I'll give them the next 5 for the mangas that I'm trying to read. Platinum End. It got an anime, and the ending was, I won't spoil it, but I still want to read it because I said I was going to read it, and we'll go through it. It's short. It's only 58 chapters. I know pretty much what's going to happen. I want to see any and all differences. Maybe it's a little bit more easy to consume as a binge. It's sitting at a 3.5 star rating though on Anime Planet. I don't use
out of 10?
Out of 5.
Out of 5, okay.
I don't
That's
use
still
my
not
anime
amazing.
list, so Anime Planet is the one that I use because I just like the visuals of it more. After Platinum End, we will be going with Fire Punch with
That's on my radar.
Chainsaw Man's author. I've loved everything that I've read from the
That
Chainsaw Man
man is
author.
gifted.
So good.
So I cannot wait to read this. It's been on my list, but I wanted to knock out Kaguya-sama when it's a pretty long manga, so I wanted to knock that long one before I started going into some of these shorter ones that were in my backlog.
For sure.
The next one is Hell's Paradise.
Ooh, yeah, I've heard great
I'm
things.
familiar with that.
I
Yeah.
heard great things. People call Jujutsu Kaisen, Hell's Paradise, and Chainsaw Man, the Dark Trio of Shonen Jump. So
Okay.
then that's what I've heard that going around on TikTok a lot. So I got to read it. It's sitting at a 4.6 on here. So
Yeah,
that's
I'm
pretty
hyped for
highly
the
rated.
anime too.
Yeah, Mappa's going to be animating it just like Chainsaw Man. So I mean, and they animated Jujutsu Kaisen, so they got their little trinity there. The one after that is We Never Learn.
Good one.
187 chapters, sitting at a 4.4 star rating. It's not necessarily in my wheelhouse for the genre, but I like to keep an open mind. I've read a couple romance anime or mangas now and animes that I've surprisingly really liked. So I'm hoping the same thing happens here. You have advised me to not watch the anime before the show, but I'm gonna watch it after I read it because I never do that. I never watch an anime after I read a manga. It's usually the opposite. So I'm gonna do that this time.
It's a different perspective.
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. And then the big one that I gave up on early when it was an anime. It was a season one seasonal show. I did not think much of it as a season one, but this man, Bowler, got me back on the horse.
Yeah.
He was hyping it up. And Golden Kamui, I'm gonna read that manga. It is complete. Probably I have to read these other ones first because I want to go in that order. That's sitting at 314 chapters. It's complete. It's got a 4.6 star rating on here. I can attest to the greatness of this show, this manga. Every week, I feel like it is a 10 out of 10 every time I watch it with this current season 4. And I binged season 1 through 3. I rewatched season 1. I still felt like it was still a little slow. I definitely see why I jumped off back then. But season 2, really right out of the gate, so much better. You get to introduce so many characters. The plot moves forward. So many great laughs. Yeah. Highly comedic. I'm literally like rolling. Like stuff that I would never think that I would see in an anime.
The most dick jokes I've ever seen in my life.
Yes, and most of it uncensored, unapologetic. You gotta love it. And I highly recommend it to you, Marty.
I got through a lot of the first season. I gotta go back and pick that up again.
Yeah, like I was saying, the first season is a little rough for me at least, and I don't know, some people, maybe some other people, because I feel like nobody talks about this thing. I hear people talking about the manga, but people do not watch this anime. It's not even on the ranking list for a lot of the weekly anime.
Yeah, that's true.
So sad.
But every week, I feel like it's a high contender every single time.
We'll have to do a Golden Kamui episode once Marty catches up.
100%. We'll do a couple thematic ones on basically any anime or any manga that we really want to do.
Yeah.
Other than that, I got God of War just like you.
You did end up getting it. Okay.
Yeah, I ended up getting those rewards points. So I definitely am going to be jumping in on that. The only other thing is that I've been slowly chucking away at the Marvel animated series. All of the Marvel ones that are on Disney Plus. They recently added 2 Spectacular Spider-Man and then the 2003 3D Spider-Man that's kind of set in the Tobey Maguire world that was on MTV. They added those recently, but I'm still in the 90s. I'm on X-Men animated series. I still got 2 seasons left.
I didn't even know you were watching them.
It's been a very slow grind. Very slow. Like I was on the 80s Spider-Man animated series for a little bit. And they're very short, but that's old content. That's really old content.
Okay.
I finished Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Surprisingly, some pretty well-written episodes, especially with the origins of the three characters. For its time, it actually pulled it off really well. The voice acting and the animation was almost anime-like an older anime.
Oh wow, okay.
And I remember watching that show a lot as a kid and never thinking much of it because it just seemed more goofy than the 90s animated series Spider-Man.
Uh-huh.
So I finished that one, and it's only, I think, 22 episodes or something like that for just one season. It used to run concurrently with the other solo Spider-Man shows. So you would get an episode of Spider-Man and then an episode of Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so that's
Scooby-Doo, a pup named Scooby-Doo, or Scrappy-Doo, or whatever.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
So now I'm on the 90s X-Men, and after that, I believe it will be Iron Man.
Ooh, nice.
So I probably will skip Spider-Man the Animated Series during this because I've watched that show many, many times. I even just rewatched it, I think, a little bit last year, a couple months ago.
Oh, okay.
I do have one show I'm currently at least trying to binge up to because of the current season.
What do you want?
And man, it was a mistake to start binging it though. It's To Your Eternity.
Ooh.
Which watching that on a binge is pretty painful, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my god, dude.
That one, like, a lot of people love that show. Like, I feel like it gets its love, but I feel like it deserves more.
It probably does. It's a great
especially
show.
For the anime intro, the song.
Oh yeah, Pink Blood. One of the best.
Tell them who sings that, Bowler.
Utada Hikaru, the singer for the Kingdom Hearts songs.
That's right. The GOAT.
And we have no way to fact check you, but you're absolutely correct.
I probably butchered her name.
All three of those. I feel like any song she could just start singing anything, and I would just gladly sit there and embrace whatever the hell she said. She could be singing. She could be. I don't even know. I
did forget one other manga I want to catch up on that I'm reading. I don't think either of you have read it at all. Is Twin Star Exorcist. It's another shonen jump. It's a bi-monthly, or no, not bi-monthly. It's monthly release. Bi-monthly was Claymore.
That is actually the next manga that I would read right after Golden Kamuy Week, but I didn't want to go that far in the list because
it has an anime, but the anime is drastically different, to say the least. Because the manga's still going.
Still gonna watch it.
It was an enjoyable anime, honestly, until I found out a lot of it was filler. But that didn't really change my liking to the show. It just basically made me want to read the manga. It made me want to read the manga more just to see the differences, you know.
Manga's insane. Yeah, I'm behind. The manga's insane.
The only other things that I feel like I might need to squeeze in at some point is the Resident Evil 8 DLC. I would love to knock out the other Resident Evil games before Resident Evil 4 drops. Like, at least play the original Resident Evil 4 because there's a remake coming out, I think, in February.
Oh, is it February? Yeah, I'm hyped for that. I used to love playing Resident Evil 4 for the GameCube.
As far as movies, I'm trying to. I have a coworker that recommends me a lot of like decent sounding horror movies, and horror has always been a genre that I've really liked. That I just kind of am a novice at, and I like to just dabble in occasion. So like this past October, I was like, all right, I'm finally going to do it. I'm going to watch horror movies in October, and I did for the most part, but some things got in the way.
As I've gotten older, I've enjoyed horror more as a genre.
Yeah, it's definitely developed a lot better in the past 10 years. Because things used to just be like Freddy, Jason, like gore, slasher.
Jason X.
Hey, Jason X is a national treasure. If aliens visited us and we needed to show them our highest form of entertainment, I would show them Jason X.
We would all die. It would be fast. Actually, it might be slow and painful. I don't know. That'd be up to them.
The movie would give them ideas.
Sure would.
It's got some good kills, man.
It has really cool practical effects, actually. If you know about it.
There's one at the beginning where he like puts the girl's
Yeah.
face in like the cryo
Liquid nitrogen.
the liquid nitrogen.
Oh wow.
And
Yeah,
then like
it's a
her whole
really
face-
cool practical effect trick.
Her whole face gets frozen, and then he just smashes her face off because it's basically ice, and just
Oh,
smashes it
man.
off and like on the counter, and she's dead. But
Yep.
gotta love that type of stuff. But as far as horror movies, I'm trying to watch The Barbarian that got put on HBO Max. Recently got a
Oh,
hold
it
of
did?
Yeah, it did.
Oh no.
I heard good things. The one that I'm looking forward to hit streaming platforms, because I don't think I'm going to get a chance to see it in theaters, is Smile. That one looks
I've heard
like
about that.
extremely creepy. It looks good. It looks like a good kind of creepy.
sad.
If you guys didn't know, Mr. Bowler here does not like his horror movies.
No.
He is very terrified. I
I'm
remember
a
going to
chick.
see the first Paranormal Activity with this man, and he was screaming at the top of his lungs. You know those trailers where they try and show you how scary a movie is, and they show the camera on the audience in the night vision, and they're all screaming and terrified at every single jump scare and
Yeah.
anything that happens in the movie. Cut this man a check.
Hey,
Cut the
everyone
check.
told me how scary that movie was, and when I finally got around to seeing it, I was so unimpressed.
I remember we were on our way home after that movie, and I knocked on the back window. Not trying to play a practical joke or anything. I was just trying to get his attention because I called his name and he wouldn't respond. So I knocked on the window. And he just
Oh
jolted.
man. Yeah, I was in a bad mind state. I was freaking out.
Yeah, that one got
Yeah.
you really bad.
Yeah, I remember. But
The first part of it got him
better
pretty
for
good
it
too.
now.
That was funny. The remake.
but yeah, I won't get into too many more of the things I'm doing. I always have way too much that I'm trying to tackle. But you and I, Bowler, are trying to watch the rest of the Nightmare on Elm Streets.
Yes,
We
I've
got-
never seen
I think
them.
we got
Oh,
four.
that's classic.
four left. We watched the first four. We got 5 coming up, 6, and then 6 is technically the last one in the actual like main franchise. And then there's Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which is a more meta version of Freddy.
That was the one. I was going to
if you like
ask which
Scream,
one was like the retcon one.
So you like Scream,
Yeah.
Bowler, and you're gonna really like this one. 'Cause it's the same creator, same style. So it takes place in real life.
Yeah, it's that one.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I can't wait. I've been really enjoying the movies.
What are you going to do for Freddy vs. Jason?
We'll probably slot it right after the 6th one, because technically the New Nightmare, it doesn't. You don't need to have technically Freddy vs. Jason would happen right after the 6th movie, because there's a reboot and then the 6th and then the 7th movie, which is the New Nightmare, and those are very different, like outside of in-universe story. So
Yeah, I
Okay.
gotcha.
so I like the Freddy movies more than the Jason movies personally.
Yeah, I've never seen the Jason movies either. I'd like to watch them.
They're good. They're entertaining. You find that like with horror, it's such a genre that doesn't get taken too seriously, and
Yeah,
especially by
it gets
critics.
comedic a lot of the time.
Critics really throw them under the rug. But like when you're a horror fan and you're watching these movies and you see like certain things that like the fandom just likes,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter. That's what makes a good horror movie. Like when you see a good horror movie, you know you've seen a good horror movie, and
Kind of like
it's
when
not going to be
Quiet Place
critically
came
acclaimed.
out.
Yeah, that's a good one that is critically acclaimed.
Yeah.
But then there's certain ones that are just like, I'll throw this out there. There's these movies called the VHS movies.
Oh, I know that.
About like these people that find a bunch of VHS tapes, and each one has it's like an anthology film. So each tape has a different director's horror project on it, and then all the stories kind of connect at the end.
Yeah.
Very not critically acclaimed, but a very cool concept for horror fans, because you get a bunch of little mini creepy stories that don't completely intertwine, but also are a part of a larger tale.
Like the Halloween anthology is a cool one too. I think it's just called Halloween
one?
though. It didn't come to theaters originally.
The witch one, right? The one where there's witches instead of Michael Myers.
No, it's an anthology. It's a bunch
Trick
of
or
different
Treat?
stories.
Trick
What's
or
up?
Treat. The
Yeah,
movie's
it might be Trick or Treat.
Yeah, Trick or Treat. That's one of my favorite horror movies ever.
Yeah, I've always wanted to see that one.
No,
Is that the one where it's got like the little pumpkin head guy?
Yep. Mhm.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, really good.
It had theater showings this October.
Oh, really? I would love to go check that out if they do it again.
I think it ended after October, but yeah.
Yeah, and next
Yeah,
year, if they do it, then sure. But I think we're rounding off on a good stopping point.
Yeah, we've been doing this for an hour. Wow, I didn't even.
It goes by, man.
Wow.
The only reason I know is because of my jank setup and my hand hurts.
Oh man.
Well, we appreciate you because I'll be honest with you, you held that camera steady, more steady than any tripod that has ever existed.
I have not. You just can't tell. So we're at the end, and I'm in death grip mode.
Yeah. So we will be signing off out of the backlog. We'll be back in the backlog.
Back into the backlog for us.
Hopefully next Friday, maybe.
Let's do it.
We'll try and figure out a schedule that works.
Yeah, we'll get better as we go. This is my first time ever doing a podcast, so I don't really know what I'm doing.
Yeah, it'll become more natural. But yeah, so y'all have a good one.
Thanks for tuning in.
Make sure to watch your backlogs.
Yep, into the backlog, out of the backlog. Signing out.
Signing out.
Bye.